morning, Acadiana. It is Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021, and you're listening to Local News Live, a production of AOC Community Media in partnership with the Acadiana Advocate. Their team of journalists print the stories important to our community and our state, and we are happy to read you some of those stories. You can hear Local News Live Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on AOC 1, the AOC Community Media channel on YouTube, and on Cypress Street Radio at aocinc.org/CS Radio. You can find the print versions of these stories and more at theadvocate.com. We couldn't bring you this community service without the generosity of our volunteer newsreaders. Today, we're joined by Robert Richard. Welcome to Local News Live, Robert.
Good morning, Matt, and thank you.
Thank you so much for reading. I'm going to get out of the way so we can get to all those headlines and listen on Cypress Street Radio.
Good morning, everyone, on this gloomy, rainy Tuesday morning. Let's get to our news. In the Acadiana area, UL offers a new path to a career in music. Studio techniques are the focus of this program. Staff report. The University of Louisiana at Lafayette is tailoring an existing degree program for students who want music careers, just not on a stage or in the business side of the industry. UL has launched a recording arts concentration for its bachelor's degree in music, according to a statement from the university. Courses will begin this fall. The new concentration is designed to prepare graduates for jobs as music producers, sound engineers, mixers, editors, and other audio production careers. It's also designed to enable them to work in virtually any medium that features music, including recording, TV, film animation, and video games, said Chris Munson, an associate professor who will coordinate the recordings arts concentration. Many students who love music don't want to play an instrument, but they do want to help create it, whether that's in the control room of a recording studio, making computer-based music running concerts, or any number of behind-the-scenes roles, Munson said. Music majors who pursue the recording arts concentration will study technical aspects of studio recording and live sound production. They won't, however, take music lessons or perform in ensembles, requirements of the university's 8 other concentrations for music majors. Instead, they'll immerse themselves in a curriculum stacked with music production courses. Students will learn about recording techniques, live event production, electronic music, audio engineering, mixing, mastering, beat making, sound design, and computer-based music. Learning their way around School of Music and Performing Arts studios set up for recording, post-production, electronic music, and mastering will also be requisite. So too will collaborating with other music majors on projects being produced via the student-run Ragin Records. Trekking to Los Angeles, New Orleans, Austin, or Nashville, where Munson spent 2 decades as a drummer, studio manager, and record label manager, is no longer the only route to a successful career in audio production. Artists don't need major record labels to get their music out there anymore, and many are opting to just do it themselves, Munson said. The Recording Arts Concentration's DIY recording course will show students how. It will delve into independent promotion and distribution, a mushrooming outlet for musicians trying to find a large audience or earn a recording contract. Artists who once had to send demo tapes to record companies that received thousands a year can now upload music to video sharing platforms such as YouTube or distribute their sounds via digital stores and streaming apps such as iTunes. They need to be capable of refining, packaging, and marketing their material or lean on someone who can, Munson said. Squeezing in, Pincher's owner setting up a second food truck spot in downtown Lafayette. by Adam Daigle, Acadiana business editor. A Lafayette man who opened the Pincher's food truck in Vermilion Parish will set up a second truck in downtown Lafayette with plans to develop the lot into a food truck park. Kevin Colomb has leased the empty lot at the south corner of Vermilion and Johnston Streets with the hopes of opening the truck by early summer. He also wants to develop the lot to house multiple food trucks, outdoor seating, restrooms, a container bar, and other amenities, he said. His truck specializes in boiled seafood and other items and is expanding after having success at the Grub Lot in Erath, said Colomb, who has worked in the restaurant business since the age of 16. Along with boiled crawfish, crab, and shrimp, menu items include the shellless tails, which is a crawfish boiled in a bowl, Cajun sushi, boudin nachos, and crawdaddy mac. The support, honestly, has been overwhelming, said Colomb, an Erath native and University of Louisiana at Lafayette graduate, now enrolled in the school's MBA program. People have been driving in from Morgan City, and I had one lady from Houma come in just to try our food. We're excited about everything that's happening. The location is ideal as a means of sewing together the downtown area and Freetown, said Anita Begnaud, Downtown Development Association CEO. It could give visibility to that area and the nearby Vermilion Lofts, which has commercial spaces on its bottom floor that remain available. It's a good connector to where we can see people moving back and forth across Johnston Street and make that a natural thing, she said. The more we can get people to see how easy it is, the better it will be for everybody. This gives people something new that they can't get anywhere else. It's going to attract people. It's a return of the food truck concept that became a thing in large cities around the country following the 2008 recession, but really became trendy in 2014. Viva la Waffle made a splash onto the Lafayette food truck scene around that time, when food trucks were used by budding restaurateurs as a way to not have to invest in a brick and mortar location. Trucks might have moved on since then, but downtown Lafayette has much more residents and foot traffic now than back then. I always passed by that lot and thought it was a beautiful piece of property that has a bunch of potential, Colomb said. My vision was always to be in Lafayette. That's the direction I'm heading with. I'm excited about it. I think it will be great for that area. Lafayette news, the first female police supervisor retires. Fair but firm, Major Lorraine Richard stepping away after 36 years, a staff report. A major with the Lafayette Police Department, who achieved many firsts for women during her 36-year career, is retiring. Not only is Major Lorraine Richard the longest employed female officer in the department, she was the first to earn a supervisory role, trailblazing her way through promotions to sergeant, lieutenant, and captain. In 2015, she was put in command of a precinct and became the first woman to achieve the rank of major. Richard began her career with the Lafayette Police on January 9, 1985. I was the first female to join the police department in a long time, so they have to accept you at first, Richard said after her 2015 promotion. But you have the respect of officers because they hear about you and they hear about how you're doing your job. Over 30 years, Richard gained a reputation for being fair but firm, with a strong work ethic and a professional demeanor, said former Lafayette Police Chief Jim Kraft. Richard grew up in Opelousas and became an officer at age 23 with a 2-year-old daughter at home. She moved on to become a training officer, both an investigator and sergeant with the juvenile section, which involves crimes committed by and against juveniles, from truancy to molestation, and a lieutenant. She also gave birth to a second daughter. In 2008, Richard became an administrative lieutenant with Precinct 1, a crime-prone area north of University Avenue that includes downtown and the Four Corners area of Lafayette. She stayed there through her promotion to captain, when she became one of the 4 commanders to oversee an entire precinct. Richard received numerous awards during her time as an officer, including the Women Who Mean Business Award, National Association of University Women for Excellence Award, Greater SWLA Black Chamber of Commerce Trailblazer Award, and Woman of the Year by Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, New Epsilon Zeta Chapter, and Finer Womanhood Program. Richard has 3 daughters, a son, and 3 grandchildren. The department says it's looking forward to spending more time with her family during her retirement. Thank you, Major Richard, for your hard work and dedication to the community for 46 years. And the Lafayette Police Department post reads, "We wish you all the best and happy retirement." A public service announcement. The United Way of Acadiana is offering free tax preparation. The United Way of Acadiana is offering free tax preparation services through its Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, VITA. The program provides low and moderate income individuals and families with free, reliable assistance with filing federal tax returns. There are 12 filing locations participating this year throughout the Acadiana region. Most locations are by appointment only due to COVID-19 safety restrictions. Visit unitedwayofacadiana.org/VITA for site locations, opening dates, and to make appointments. For additional resources, visit myfreetaxes.com to learn more about alternate free or low-cost filing options currently available. The VITA program is just one way the United Way of Acadiana is working to help individuals and families achieve and maintain financial stability. Learn more about additional programs by visiting unitedwayofacadiana.org. In Acadiana news continued, a Lafayette officer fights termination. Altercation with handcuffed man captured on video by Kristen Askelson, staff writer. A Lafayette police officer captured on video apparently pushing and punching a man who was handcuffed is taking his case to the Civil Service Board after being terminated. A newly released video taken inside the Lafayette Parish Jail in late November, shortly after a man was arrested on domestic violence and resisting an officer charges, shows the altercation. Officer Pablo Estrada and the man, who has been identified as Dennis Lazard, entered the room, and Estrada tells him to sit on a bench. Lazard walks toward the bench, still handcuffed, but does not take a seat. Estrada stands up and walks toward him. Lazard takes a step back. When Estrada returns to the desk, Lazard steps toward him again. Estrada stands up and walks Lazard toward the wall and points at the bench. Then Estrada pushes Lazard, punches him in the stomach, grabs his shirt, and forces him to sit. Estrada returns to the desk, and moments later, a few officers enter the room. The sheriff's office investigated the incident because it happened inside the jail but did not press charges. It reviewed the information and sent the case back to the Lafayette Police Department. Estrada was notified of his termination February 22nd, according to KATC TV. In a subsequent interview with KATC, Lazard said he endured police brutality from the moment officers knocked on a hotel door to arrest him to when he left the jail. He said he and his girlfriend decided to celebrate Thanksgiving last year and have a few drinks together. Those drinks led to an altercation and her making a 911 call, Lazard said. Lazard said officers were aggressive from the moment they showed up at the Plantation Inn Motel on Evangeline Thruway. He was brought to the Lafayette jail where he says he was in pain from the rough arrest. That's when, Lazard said, Estrada told him to sit on the bench, to which he replies, "Y'all are all explicative deleted. Just beat the deletion out of me." The officer said, "Yeah, because you weren't listening," according to Lazard. If the board accepts the request from Estrada, then it will allow Estrada's attorney to present a case to fight his termination. The board's next meeting is April 7th. A Lafayette man is booked in a road rage shooting. Crime blotter from advocate staff reports. Acadia Parish Sheriff's deputies have arrested a man in a Friday morning shooting on Interstate 10. Javon Thomas Martin, 20, was booked on 4 counts of attempted second-degree murder, according to a statement from the sheriff's office. The shooting, described by Acadia deputies as a road rage incident, happened about 11:30 a.m. Friday near the Dusson exit. Shots were reported fired at a vehicle, and a description of the shooter was given to local law enforcement. Scott police located and stopped that vehicle on I-10. According to a statement, Scott police detained the driver for deputies. The victims told investigators that Martin was driving recklessly, and they attempted to pull away from his vehicle. Martin pulled up on the rear left side of their vehicle and fired several rounds, striking the vehicle twice, they said. 4 people were in the vehicle. No one was injured. 2 are dead in a Morgan City crash. At least 2 people died and others were injured in a crash in Morgan City early Sunday morning, KATC reported. Morgan City police said the crash happened around 12:45 a.m. on US 90 East near the Dr. Martin Luther King Drive exit. There were 3 vehicles involved. 2 of the drivers died. Several passengers and the 3rd driver were transported to hospitals. 1 was transported via Air Med, police say. The crash remains under investigation. Police are seeking a suspect in a dine and dash. The Lafayette Police Department is seeking assistance in identifying 2 people accused of a dine and dash incident, KATC TV reported. On January 20th, police say 2 people dined at the Fiery Crab restaurant on Kali's Saloon Road and left without paying for the meal. Photos of the suspects were captured on surveillance footage at the restaurant. Anyone with information is urged to contact the Lafayette Police Department or Lafayette Crime Stoppers at 337-232-TIPS or by submitting a tip through the P3 Tips mobile app. All callers remain anonymous and can earn up to $1,000 cash reward. state news, the owner says the return of Geists Pies is getting closer. Ramsey hopes to open in a matter of months. By Ian McNulty, staff writer. You can't taste a freshly baked Geists pie just yet, and Andrew Ramsey knows some locals still doubt they ever will again. But Ramsey is confident the factory he's building will soon be churning out the beloved little hand pies by the thousands, putting a revered local brand back in circulation. After 9 years in limbo, Geists Pies are almost back. Ramsey, the next generation owner of the company, won't lay out any precise timelines. But as of today, he believes the pies will be back on store shelves in a matter of months. We're in the final stretch, Ramsey said. Work has been progressing at the new production facility and home base for Geists, located in a warehouse just off Jefferson Highway near the Huey P. Long Bridge. The company has brought back some of its former employees from the old days, including key production and operations personnel, and is now posting job ads for more workers. Throughout the process, Ramsey has been reluctant to make promises about return dates. He knows how much Geists means to many people, and he doesn't want to set expectations when he can't control the myriad factors needed to fulfill them. As a company, we lost everything except our goodwill, he said, and we don't want to burn through that. In business since 1921, Geists Pies became more than just a familiar convenience food in New Orleans. The grab-and-go treats, which could be found at the grocery, the hardware store, or gas station, were inexpensive products that became part of New Orleans' daily routine, and thus ingrained in the hearts of a city that loves its rituals. A fire wiped out Geists' historic home in the Faubourg Marigny on July 27, 2012. Its owners pledged to return, but a split in the business partnership behind the company led to many years of delays. Early last year, Ramsey said he was hopeful production could begin in the summer of 2020. Of course, 2020 had other ideas in store, and the pandemic brought cascading delays. But Ramsey acknowledges his own approach has been a painstaking one. That's because he's not just out to relaunch a well-known brand, but also to bring back an experience. He's determined to recreate each detail of the pies, the flavor, the feel, the look, and even the feel of the crinkly paper wrappers. The next pie you have will resemble the last pie you had in every which way, said Ramsey. It's going to be identical. Geists was known for cooking from scratch, and now the company is being remade from scratch too. Ramsey has been foraging for vintage equipment from old plants and former suppliers, and refurbishing pieces that were salvaged from the Marigny facility. He bought one machine, which cuts dough into oblong hand pie shapes, from the grandson of the guy who sold the original to my grandfather, Ramsey said. And the process continues with icing mixers, pot washers, dough mixers, fryers, cooling spirals, and wrapping machines. Month after month, the many different pieces required to bring back these little hand pies have been building up. Ramsey knows anticipation for Geists lovers has been building too. That's why he zeroed in on making sure the revived pies are up to the standard people remember. We're making progress, Ramsey allowed. Before the fire, the plant produced an average of 25,000 pies a day. Ramsey said the new facility will have the capacity to exceed that number. They'll be distributed to lots of different outlets, including groceries, gas stations, and convenience stores. The lineup of flavors, which will be the same as before, with apple, lemon, peach, pineapple, chocolate, and coconut prepared year-round. Seasonal flavors will also return to the roster for limited runs, including blueberry, blackberry, cherry, and sweet potato. The Geists Pie origin story goes back to the early 20th century when Simon Hubig set up a bakery in Fort Worth, Texas. He expanded to build a regional chain that reached as far as Cincinnati. All of the factories folded as the Depression and the rationing of World War II took their toll, with the lone exception of the New Orleans location. It kept churning out the hand pies from the same Dauphine Street building until the 2012 fire. Today in History by the Associated Press. Today is Tuesday, March 23rd, the 82nd day of 2021. There are 2,283 days left in the year. Today's highlight in history. On March 23rd, 1775, Patrick Henry delivered an address to the Virginia Provincial Convention in which he is said to have declared, "Give me liberty or give me death." On this date, in 1792, Joseph Haydn's Symphony No. 94, G Major, the Surprise Symphony, had its first public performance in London. In 1806, explorers Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, having reached the Pacific coast, began their journey back east. In 1933, the German Reichstag adopted the Enabling Act, which effectively granted Adolf Hitler dictatorial powers. In 1942, the first Japanese Americans evacuated by the U.S. Army during World War II arrived at the internment camp in Manzanar, California. In 1965, America's first two-person space mission took place as Gemini 3 blasted off with astronauts Virgil Gus Grissom and John W. Young aboard for a nearly 5-hour flight. In 1973, before sentencing a group of Watergate break-in defendants, Chief U.S. District Judge John J. Sirica read aloud a letter he'd received from James W. McCord, Jr., which said there was political pressure to plead guilty and remain silent. In 1993, scientists announced they'd found the renegade gene that causes Huntington's disease. In 2001, Russia's orbiting the Mir space station ended its 15-year odyssey with a planned fiery plunge into the South Pacific. In 2003, during the Iraq War, a U.S. Army maintenance convoy was ambushed in Mauricio. 11 soldiers were killed, including PFC Laurie Ann Pistor. 6 were captured, including PFC Jessica Lynch, who was rescued on April 1st, 2003. In 2004, a federal commission concluded that Clinton and Bush administration's officials had engaged in lengthy, ultimately fruitless diplomatic efforts instead of military action to try to get Osama bin Laden before the 9/11 attacks. Top Bush officials countered that the terror attacks would have occurred even if the United States had killed the al-Qaeda leader. In 2010, claiming a historic triumph, President Barack Obama signed the Affordable Care Act, $938 billion Health Care Act overhaul. 10 years ago, NATO ships began patrolling off Libya's coast as airstrikes, missiles, and energized rebels forced Muammar Gaddafi's tanks to roll back from 2 key western cities. 5 years ago, President Barack Obama, on a fence-mending state visit to Buenos Aires, held up Argentina as an emerging world leader worthy of U.S. support, as he and President Mauricio Marchi broke with years of tensions between their countries. 1 year ago, President Donald Trump said he wanted to reopen the country for business in weeks, not months. He asserted that continued closures could result in more deaths than the coronavirus itself. Today's birthdays. Movie director Mark Rydell is 92. International Motorsports Hall of Famer Craig Breedlove is 84. Former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is 69. Singer Chaka Khan is 68. Actor Amanda Plummer is 64. Actress Catherine Geener is 62. Actress Hope Davis is 57. Actor Richard Greco is 56. Actor Marin Hinkle is 55. Rock musician Damon Albarn of The Blur is 53. Actor Kelly Perrine is 52. Actress-singer Melissa Enrico is 51. Rock musician John Humphrey of the Nixons is 51. Bandleader Reggie Watts of TV's The Late Show with James Corden is 49. Actor Randall Park is 47. Actress Michelle Monaghan is 45. Actor Kerry Russell is 45. Actor Anastasia Griffith is 43. Gossip columnist blogger Perez Hilton is 43. And actor Nicole Tom is 43. Today's Zodiac. Aries, March 21st to April 19th. Attend a virtual networking event that interests you. Anger will set in if you sit back instead of taking action. It's up to you to do your part. Taurus, April 21st to May 20th. Make a positive change at home. Be willing to do work yourself and you'll feel good about your accomplishment. Speak up about matters that concern you and resolve issues swiftly. Gemini, May 21st to June 20th. Be careful not to lead someone on. Honesty will help you maintain a good rapport with others without jeopardizing your reputation or your integrity. Cancer, June 21st to July 22nd. Consider what you are trying to achieve and gather the information that will help you reach your goal. Don't jeopardize your health in order to advance. Know when to say no or cut your losses. Leo, July 23rd to August 22nd. Concentrate on being the best you can be. Improve your life, looks, and relationships with others. Offer kindness, support, and understanding to the people around you. Romance looks promising. Virgo, August 23rd to September 22nd. You'll get help from people who share your concerns. Speak up and do your best to make a difference. Anger will solve nothing, but physically taking responsibility will pay off. Libra, September 23rd to October 23rd. Set out on a pilgrimage that will lead to valuable information. Educational pursuits will open your mind to all sorts of exciting possibilities. Share something special with a loved one. Scorpio, October 24th to November 22nd. Uncertainty will hold you back. Concentrate on what's required to reach your destination and put everything in place. A minimalist lifestyle is encouraged if you want to avoid setbacks. November the 23rd to December 21st. Don't be fooled by someone trying to part you from your hard-earned cash. Set ground rules at home or with anyone you share expenses with. You cannot buy love or respect. Capricorn, December 22nd to January 19th. Refuse to take chances with your health. Make adjustments to the way you live or how you handle your money to ease stress and foster better decisions. Aquarius, January 20th to February 19th. Put your energy where it counts and you'll get good results. Home improvements will encourage you to take better care of yourself and those you love. Don't get angry. Let go of the past and begin again. Pisces, February 20th to March 20th. Concentrate on creative ideas and living life your way. Don't get stuck in a rut when change is necessary. Reach out to someone you enjoy collaborating with, and you'll get good results. The horoscope, an entertainment feature, is not based on scientific fact. Continuing with state news, community colleges expect enrollment to rebound. Schools in Louisiana hit hard by the pandemic shutdown. By Ken Stickney, staff writer. Enthusiasts for Louisiana's community colleges and technical programs say they'll emerge from the COVID-19 era with robust resources and rebounding enrollments. Monty Sullivan, president of the 12-institution Louisiana Community and Technical College System, said Monday that post-pandemic Louisiana will place new and added emphasis on manufacturing, and the system will offer students quality short-term programs that will open doors to jobs that pay well. The effects of the pandemic has been very difficult for a number of sectors, he said, listing retail, restaurants, and tourism among them. But, he said, manufacturing will accelerate its capital investments in Louisiana's economy and will need trained and eager workers to ensure success. Sullivan's comments came on the first day of Louisiana's Community College Week. Campuses are hosting events and marketing programs for enrollment as the pandemic eases. Among the most attractive programs have been two-year programs in such areas as process technology and instrumentation, but also shorter programs that teach specific skills and continue to be in great demand. Unemployment is high and people believe there are no jobs, Sullivan said, but that's not the case. There are very few jobs available to applicants with no skills. That's why we don't want to leave people in Louisiana without opportunities to gain skills. The system has continued to emphasize programs to train or retrain employees who are eager to join a more polished and skilled workforce. To that end, he said, the system is planning to introduce legislation in the state legislature's upcoming session, which starts April 12th, that will help students meet their college expenses. The legislation will be shepherded by Louisiana Senate Majority Leader Paige Cortez, Republican of Lafayette, and will be named for former Governor Mike Foster, who helped create Louisiana's two-year system. Enrollments at community colleges, which oftentimes serve vulnerable populations, were most affected by COVID-19, according to the Chronicle of Higher Education. Debbie Tibchuri, Director of Enrollment Management at South Louisiana Community College, said the college experienced a 5% enrollment drop last fall and a 12% drop in the fall. She expects things to start to bounce back in the fall. The biggest problem freshmen had in the fall was that they didn't experience a true college experience without the camaraderie with classmates and the convenience of in-class professors. It's hard enough to transition from high school to college when you're usually able to walk around with people and ask questions, she said. But she said stimulus checks have helped students think about enrolling again, and applications for the fall are up significantly. And she said the COVID-19 era has not been all bad for college recruiters. The access we've been able to have because of virtual recruiting events has helped us reach more people, she said. We have relied on face-to-face recruiting. What we found is we reach more applicants without that. It's been a very interesting learning experience. The college's events this week include a 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Wednesday virtual session with the administration department and 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Internet Cafe, which Tipchuri likened to speed dating with academic programs. Students who participate can make a whirlwind tour of what the campus is offering for study paths, with faculty readily available to explain their programs. Pam Borsig, Executive Director of Enrollment Management and Student Affairs at Sewilla in Lake Charles, said her campus kicked off the Community College Week last week with virtual events detailing admissions and financial aid. This week, she said, there will be campus tours among other events. She said despite drops in applications this year, Sewilla retained more than 83% of its students from fall semester, when Lake Charles survived 2 hurricanes to the spring semester. That was the highest retention number among all of Louisiana's 2-year colleges. She said Sewilla provided more than 1,000 hotspots for internet connections in the community, initiated virtual tutoring, and lent laptops to students. We tried to be responsible to the students, she said. In the fall, our students and employees went through a lot. Borschig and Darlene Huffpower of the marketing department said Sewilla sustained much damage from the hurricanes, but an aggressive build-back program should have most buildings ready for students by the fall. Lafayette Parish Mayor President Josh Gilry will formally proclaim this week as Community College Week in Lafayette. In his proclamation, he noted that South Louisiana community colleges serve 8 parishes and distributes $26 million in grants and scholarships to students. It is, he said, a beacon of hope for opportunity for a brighter future for citizens of Acadiana, and is a critical gateway to higher education. The latest on the COVID-19 coronavirus. Louisiana deaths top 10,000. Today is a grim milestone for our state, marking a year of sadness and loss. By Yusuf Radad, staff writer. A year after the coronavirus began surging through the state, Louisiana surpassed the bleak high-water mark Monday after health officials reported more than 10,000 people are suspected to have died from the corona-19 virus. That figure, though still preliminary, represents more deaths in Louisiana than from accidents, strokes, and some of the top causes of death for the state's residents in past years, and was second only to heart disease and fatalities last year, according to the Louisiana Department of Health. Now stretching into its 13th month since Louisiana reported its first death from the disease, the pandemic also has come at an ultimate price for those who died and their families. Today is a grim milestone for our state, as more than 10,000 Louisianians have now died from COVID-19, marking a year of sadness and loss, as so many families and friends are missing their loved ones, Governor John Bell Edwards said in a statement Monday. We must pray for them and their families and do everything we can to prevent the spread of this terrible illness. The 10,030 deaths suspected to be tied to COVID-19 is greater than the number of deaths the state reported from accidents, chronic lower respiratory disease, stroke, and Alzheimer's combined, which respectively were the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th leading causes of death for Louisiana residents in 2017, said Dr. Courtney N. Phillips, Secretary of the Louisiana Department of Health. We grieve with the many families who have lost loved ones, and we are driven and determined to end this pandemic, she said. Louisiana saw the fastest growth of recorded coronavirus infections of any area in the world last spring, with the pandemic's epicenter in the New Orleans area. The virus quickly spread through much of the state and spiked again in the summer before reaching its highest level of hospitalizations and daily cases and infections than at any other time in early January. In the Baton Rouge area, for instance, the months of December and January saw the highest number of infections than any previous time. Strained hospitals and overworked staff saw local and state officials issue stern calls for people to consider postponing holiday gatherings and adhere to social distancing measures. Intensive care units, beds in the Lafayette area, were nearing capacity at that time as well. Tulane epidemiologist Susan Hassig said the number of deaths is staggering for a state with just more than 4.5 million residents, and it has accounted for a significant number of so-called excessive deaths. It's like 6 Hurricane Katrinas happening on top of the other deaths that were already happening, Hassig said. Because COVID-19 tends to be more deadly for people with challenges with existing health conditions, the pandemic may have also proven more deadly in Louisiana because many more residents suffer from obesity, diabetes, and other underlying problems than most states, she said. The number of people in hospitals has tapered off significantly throughout the state in recent weeks, a trend health officials credit to vaccines driving down the rate of infections. Despite more than 1 million people receiving at least one dose of the 3 available vaccines, only about 13% of residents are considered fully inoculated, according to health department figures. Vaccine rollouts for the public had initially focused on healthcare workers, older adults, and nursing home residents, which account for roughly 1/3 of the state's deaths tied to COVID-19, according to state figures. Through expanded eligibility this week for essential workers, a large portion of the adult population is now eligible to receive vaccines. The COVID-19 vaccines are our exit ramp from this pandemic, and I could not be more encouraged by the tremendous work already undertaken, said Dr. Joseph Cantor, State Health Officer. I am looking forward to even more Louisianians having the opportunity to get vaccinated in the near future. Still, health experts and state leaders have called for caution and urged people to continue following public health safeguards, largely due to worries that emerging versions of the virus are more infectious and could reduce the effectiveness of vaccines. A greater worry has been that variants or mutations of the coronavirus could sicken vaccinated people. Easter's going to be coming in just a few weeks after the kids are done spring breaking in Texas and Florida, and it could get really ugly, Hassig said. In sports, rugged challenges await Acadiana. Deep young teams open tough 3-5A Tuesday by Mike Kopage, contributing writer. A deep young pitching staff has propelled Acadiana High to a 12-3 record and the number 5 ranking in the LHSAA's Class 5 unofficial power rankings as district play begins this week. The Wrecking Rams, who host Lafayette High in a District 3-5A opener at 4 p.m. Tuesday, have allowed an average of only 3.73 runs per game. Other than seniors Justin Bryce and Ian Montz, the rest of our staff is juniors and sophomores, Acadiana coach Clay Courtier said. Last week, Bryce got a win against number 4 Walker by pitching 6 2/3 innings with 7 strikeouts. Justin is 1-1 with some bad luck, Courtier said. Against Turlings, he lost 6-0, but gave up only 1 earned run. We had 5 errors in that game. Montz is 1-0 on the mound and has been wielding a hot bat. I had a slow start, Courtier said. He's come around as of late and is hitting over 300. Junior right-hander Aaron Lannery, 3-0, and sophomore R.J. Davis, 4-0, lead the Rams in wins. Lannery can throw 3 pitches for strikes, Courtier said. He's not going to overpower you. On Saturday against Denham Springs, he went 7 innings, walked 1, gave up 1 hit, and threw only 78 pitches. That was his second time having an outing like that. RJ is much the same way. He has a good fastball and breaking ball. Courtier said his pitchers have been throwing with confidence. We're getting strong efforts, he said. Pitching has been our bright spot. We've limited our walks, which was a goal we set early on. We also wanted to attack the strike zone. One thing about our pitchers is that nothing bothers them too much. They keep their composure and don't let the situation become too big or too small. They don't get rattled, which has made a big difference for us. Sophomore Parker Gwynn starts at shortstop and has been a clutch reliever. Last Tuesday, Parker got a big win at Dutchtown, Courtier said. He pitched 3 innings in relief and gave up 1 or 2 hits and didn't allow a run until the 7th inning. He's been really good at the plate. Parker is our leading hitter right now with a .450 average. Cardell Thibodeau is hitting .390. Parker, Cardell, and Ian Mounts each have 1 home run. Catcher Hunter Sellers and third baseman outfielder Sean Thibodeau have also swung the bat well. Hunter has done a real good job with runners in scoring position, Courtier said. He's our leading RBI guy and has done a tremendous job behind the plate. We expected that one of the keys to our season would be our defense behind the plate. Tebow, who has some pop in his bat, has a home run. He had a sacrifice fly against Dutchtown to tie it. As usual, 3-5A is strong with number 1 Barb, 190, number 2 Sam Houston, 17-2, number 13 Southside at 14-3, number 16 New Iberia, 14-5, and number 22 Como at 15-4. You can't take a day off in this district, Courtier said. We've been focusing on game situations in practice and getting better each day. We try not to focus on the opponent, but to focus on us. We want to focus on what we have to do to get better to compete with the teams we have to face in this district. Funerals today in the Acadiana area. Edwin Godin Jr., the Sunrise Chapel at Walter's Funeral Home, 2424 North University Avenue, Lafayette at 2 p.m. Doris Richard Sr., Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church at 2 p.m. This has been Local News Live for March 23rd, 2021. I've been your reader, Robert Richard. Join us at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on AOC 1, Cypress Street Radio, or the AOC Community Media channel on YouTube. You can read these stories and more at theadvocate.com and find out how to volunteer and more at aocinc.org. Have a good day.